Today I'm going to be taking the grafting tape off of a successful 3-flap graft that I did this spring. This is on pecan. Earlier I had done a video on a 3-flap graft on a chestnut tree. Same procedure. I just wanted to show this one because it was a good example of what actually can be accomplished by grafting. This particular pecan tree is a variety that we bred some 20 years ago, named Tracey, after my wonderful wife, and I can get back into specifics on that, but what we were trying to do was get the best tasting nut that didn't have a scab problem. And the best tasting nut around here anyway, people had said that Lucas had a fantastic taste, but it was prone to scab in our area, so we wanted to breed it with something that was a little bit more resistant to that scab that gets on the nuts and lowers the quality. So we went with a variety called Creek, and like I said, I'll get back to that a little bit more, but what I wanted to do was to take this graft apart and see if I can show you the 3 flaps and how they went. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get my hands in the picture here and start tearing this apart. This stick here is not a splint, it's actually a bird stick. This stick right here was so that a bird could land up here off camera where you can't see and not ruin my brand new graft. So I'm just going to come in here and rip all that stuff out because I don't need that anymore. If a bird lands on this tree, it's strong enough now, so I can just get rid of that. And now I'll come into here. This was my foil to reflect the sun's heat. I'll get rid of that. I've got a plastic bag on there to retain moisture, so I'll rip that off of there. And it's almost to the point of girdling. It's grown so well. This is tight and the plastic's almost like growing into it. So I was going to wait till spring. Maybe, wouldn't have really made a difference one way or the other, but this way I get to show you the leaves on the tree still, and a little later I'll try to pan back and we'll see if we can see how dramatically the thing grew out. So a little tedious getting underneath all this and picking it clean. This tree was planted by a squirrel right out here in the flower bed. The closest pecan tree is 60 feet away probably, so we're fairly confident the nut just didn't blow over here. There's another pecan tree over in the flower bed. There's pecans have become weeds around here because the squirrels plant them and they don't always remember what they planted, so this thing's giving me a bit of a fit here. I can get that off of there just so I can show the tape without all the plastic in the way. So I'm going to undo this tape here. Here's my tie. If I cut that tie off of there, start unwinding it, put my knife down. Whoops, there goes that part. More plastic bag. Yeah, it literally did girdle it right there. It's skinny. I'm hoping that's on camera, but I'm not a I'm not a camera guy. I'm a growing guy, so bear with me, folks. And I'm gonna get back in here. There it is, and just unwrap that. And it's gonna fight me a little bit. Let's see if I can get that off of there. Alright. Got one more even. Yeah, that got into the bark a little bit this year. Just 1 year's growth. Wow. So the reason I grafted is because I want to take a wild seedling that was planted by a squirrel and turn it into what could arguably called the best tasting nut you can grow around these areas. And there's a little bit of pride in that, I'm sure. But it's true. It's a good nut. I'm going to pull this camera off here and it's going to get shaky. Alright, so what we got here is the top flap that was connected to this part, and then here you can see in the cyan it comes down and there's the gap, And then we're back over here to another flap on this side. Okay, so that, let me get back around here. There's your full graft from right here into here. Alright, so the top of this, if my grafting wood last year looked like this, then this bud right here went out and made that. This bud down here went out and made that. And then I would have trimmed up in right in there, right below that bud. So that's what this stick is. So pretty dramatic. You've got the two little buds there, and then you've got what they could become. And let me back off and show you the size of this tree now. I guess the actual tree itself is probably 6 foot up here at the tip, about as tall as I am, and then it's got this leaf growing out of it. So there's the terminal bud there, about 6 feet. So what did I get of growth? Maybe 3 out of those 6 feet almost, about half the tree again. So it went from being this size to being that size in 1 year. That looks a little bit, you know, it's been protected. This is all callus, basically. All this white stuff you see is callusing, which you really want and need, you know, to seal the two together. So that is my copy of Tracey Pecan. The original is on a completely different property where they had room to grow out 80 trees. This was the chestnut that I grafted in that video. I did 7, and actually 1 died fairly quickly, and then another one failed. But, you know, I got 5 out of 7 anyway, and grafting on these small potted trees like this is a 1-gallon pot. That can be difficult. This is a variety called peach. So when you're growing, you know, you grow that tree out and then you cut it back all to right there, that's a pretty good shock. So it only put on, I don't know, 9 inches, 10 inches maybe. It made 2. It's not quite hardened off yet. It's getting close, and you know, it's getting colder. This little tender spot right here, yeah, I'm hoping that'll make it through winter. So I'm going to go ahead and re-wrap that with some wax, and I'll cover it back up with foil for the winter, and I'll put that tree to bed. And then next year I'm expecting that tree to double in size probably. It'll be 12 feet tall. And I will go ahead and take off this second branch over here to the left and allow the top one leader to continue up, and then I'll have all that beautiful wood right there to produce more Tracey trees with. So this may someday be kind of a standard that people grow around here in orchards. And I'll show you what the nuts end up looking like. Filled the shell really nice, paper thin pecan shell, and nice light colored amber. Now this will darken a bit because that's only about 3 weeks off the tree, off the mother tree, which I said, you know, it's not here to show you, but we've taste tested them, and we don't have anything growing out here that tastes any better. And what we do grow out here, I've got an actual cheat sheet today. We're growing Posey, Kansas, Kiowa. We have natives, Peruke, and now Tracey. And Tracey is a protagonist. Female flowers first. She's a type 2. As was Lucas, the seed mother. You can choose which tree you want to produce the actual nut that you're going to plant, and then you use the pollen from the other tree. Well, Lucas had the most characteristics that we wanted, so we went with it. And then we used Creek as the pollen parent. So you got protanderous, which means the males flower first, or you've got protagonist, which is the female first. So you can't cross 2 trees that have the same exact flowering period, because both their females will be ready and their males won't. The trees alternate either or. It's a true dichotomy where everybody knows the word, but I think this is maybe where it came from. Anyway, that is our Tracey nut. We're pretty proud of it. It filled up the shell pretty well. It tastes fantastic, and I'm gonna rewrap that guy and put it to bed for the year. So that's a little bit on the 3 flap. If a guy has the time and he's got a wild nothing of a tree that comes up, he can create something world class in a half hour. So hope you got something out of that, and thank you for watching.